plus 176% on area A, down in B,
276.
A triples, C
Wait a
doubles.
second. I don't see it.
Would it be here or would it be in the drive?
It should be the record. Pull it up. Yeah, where's my folder?
Cleveland?
Oh, here we go. I got it.
Okay.
No. No. I don't like how slow this mouse is. That's really kind of. Okay. Why is it not bringing it up?
Oh, okay.
You guys want me to get started, or? Well, you got the PowerPoint coming up. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting to order. I need a gavel.
There you go. I got you.
So we have no at 5:04 p.m. Excuse me. We have nobody absent, right?
No.
Is this everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Quorum.
Awesome. Citizens communication. Is there anyone present wishing to address the committee? Hearing no one, we will move on to item 3, consent agenda. Do I need to read the whole thing? All matters listed on the consent agenda? All matters listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by the advisory committee and will be enacted by one motion. If any committee member desires to discuss an item on the consent agenda, it will be moved to the regular agenda for further consideration. Are there any items the committee wishes to remove from the consent agenda?
No.
Okay. Nobody wants to discuss the minutes. Okay. No items removed. I'll accept a motion and a second to approve item 3A.
So moved.
Got a motion from Andrew,
Second.
and a second from Marcus. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Okay. Discuss and consider. Discuss and consider item 4A. Discuss and consider the roadway impact fee study update. Only item for today. 54 minutes to ask you questions.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, actually, we have a little bit short of a presentation tonight. Last month was a little bit of the 101, which is always going to take a little bit longer, and more, like I said, concise presentation tonight. So, plenty of time for discussion. My name is Ben Plett. I work for Kimley Horn. I prepared the roadway impact fee study update. Really, just to establish the purpose of tonight's meeting, is to recommend the approval of the 2025 City of Pflugerville Roadway Impact Fee Study Update and to provide CIAC written feedback to be shared with City Council. So as we were discussing last meeting, we kind of went over a 101, and at the same time we talked about the updated land use assumptions, the service units, as well as the capital improvements plan as part of the 2025 update. Today, we'll just be talking about the maximum assessable fee. A little bit of a reminder from last time about how's the maximum fee calculated. You basically take the cost of the entire CIP and divide it by how much growth is going to happen in the next 10 years here as well. That is the simplest way to say it. There's a lot more lines in there correcting for things to make sure that you're only paying for the part that services the new growth. We also have Nugent, our subconsultant, here tonight who prepared the financial assessment as part of the update. So if there's any financial specific questions, we can get Matthew Garrett with Nugent up here as well. Just a quick reminder what the service areas are, because the fee is different per service area. So we can always flip back to this slide if you want to talk more specifically about it. Okay, and here are the updated max fees. I heard y'all discussing this a little bit before the meeting. So, top line. This is the currently adopted from the 2020 version of the study here. So this is what is currently codified. The 2025 RIF date up max fees is what was just calculated here. So you can see they generally went up with service area B reducing here, the max fees. Something important to note is that all of the new max fees are still above the currently adopted collection rate. So say City Council wanted to keep the current collection rate, that would be acceptable from the new study as well. Yeah.
Why are the collection rates not proportional to the max fee?
Oh, the currently adopted collection rates, these are what was based on the previous study, so I've not touched those collection rates. That is what people are paying today. And I might have misunderstood initially. So what you're asking, like, why is residential $15.90 all the way across?
Right.
I think the idea by City Council originally was to build a single-family home or a multifamily unit. It should be the same price regardless of what service area you're developing in. The strategy some people use. You can see it's the maximum fee of service area A.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
And
I guess I understand the logic, but I think there's more information behind that we might not see here. I would just expect it to be more proportional to what the max fee is in terms of what's been collected.
I think that's good feedback for City Council. Yeah, ultimately, I think my purpose here is to calculate the new max fee, and City Council's purpose is to adopt that max fee and set the collection rate. So I set the ceiling, and everything else is
Okay,
is
why
set
did the
by
ceiling
City
go up so much is the real question, right?
Yeah, so
Because A what, doubled?
yes, more than doubled in
Yeah,
service
C
area.
tripled.
Yeah, I've done several of these studies in the past year, and this is pretty in line with that I've seen. I think the odd one is service area B going down,
Yeah.
actually, to me. Explanation for that is the cost of construction has gone significantly up in the past 5 years. Inflation has been higher. Construction materials have been more expensive. So the 2020 study, we're basing this on 2020 construction costs, and now we've updated those construction costs to be current. Usually we're looking at, not usually, we're looking at text unit bid prices for.
Can you think of any, or maybe one or two of the top projects that that caused A to go up or C to go up? Like, was there something in specific that you can name?
In the past 5 years, the actual projects themselves have not changed significantly in A and C. I will say C has had some annexation, so you add if it's adjacent, annexing roadways, you add a few more projects, but just the cost of the specific projects themselves have been more expensive here.
Yeah.
There is one I can think of in A, actually. There's a project to add ramps to the 45 frontage road, and at the previous study, it was just conceptual level cost, and I think it was something like $10 million or something. I mean, it's a bridge structure, right, to get up and down and over there. And now they're actually costing it out with real world costs, and it's coming out to more like $25 million from the cost used in the previous. So from 10 million to 25 million in that specific one. That's a little bit of two things happening, right? Construction costs have gone up, and we have a real world cost compared to a planning level cost here. I will say doubling is about consistent with what I've seen in the Georgetown updates, the City of Austin update for the impact fees. Really, really doubling or tripling is what I've been seeing.
I mean, I know that construction costs are going up and roadway costs are going up, but charging, C is going to grow more than A and B, obviously, because it's a lot.
Right.
So we're going to ask developers to pay $6,812 per every 1,000 or 100 square feet, or how does that work?
This is actually multiplied by the vehicle mile we talked about last time. So it takes into consideration the IT trip generation and how far those trips are going.
Yeah, per 6 miles, correct? Per every 6 miles, or?
Yes, well, capped by 6 miles, because that's how wide the service areas can be. We have these same comparison charts from last time to look at if we'd rather talk from here.
So just to build like a 10,000 square foot building in a 6 mile radius or 6 mile stretch with a 6,000, what was that, $812 price tag.
Yes, it's much more than that, actually, because that hasn't been multiplied yet.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do want to again set the context that this is the
It's just-
ceiling. City council could adopt. They could say they're not going up at all, right?
Right.
We could keep with the 1590 and the 1578 in service area C to your example here. Another point to be made, which might be a little too nuanced, is this is only applicable in the city limits, right? So in service area C, I think a lot of the growth is happening in the ETJ. They would not be charged this until they annexed into the city,
Right.
if they annexed into the
Or
city.
if they were on the cusp of like portion of city and then the other portion was ETJ, then there's, so in this document, it does say something like that.
Yes,
I can grab it, but
yes.
so then they would be paying 50, let's just say 50% because they're
Yes.
like halfway in the roadway.
Yeah.
And then, so they'd be paying half of that 6812 times their 10,000 square foot building. And then a
Right.
lot more math in there that I did not do.
Right.
But that's also very expensive.
Right. Yeah, the city's not currently charging the max. I don't know if city
Right.
council would be supportive of going to the max. That's certainly something y'all could recommend in your comments to council that.
Well, I guess my question to that, if it was the math, is that commonly done in the math on the border areas? You know, what she was just talking about. Is that consistent across most? Where'd y'all come up with that math? And
Yeah,
how'd you
yeah,
figure that out?
that is consistent. So I could pull up a CIP slide. So how we cost out the actual roadway projects themselves. So if it's on the border of two service areas, like between A and B, A pays 50% and B pays 50% into it, into the roadway project. And that's how we do the costing. So you don't double count it, right? A doesn't pay for a whole road, A and B pays for a whole road. When something's on the border with an ETJ, it's assumed that the county pays for half of the road and the service area pays for half the road. So it actually reduces the cost of the CIP here because it only pays for 50% of it. Now we're talking about specific buildings, right?
Right.
Is you have a site that spans a few pieces of land.
Yeah.
Some is in full purpose and some is in the ETJ. You would base it on where the building was located probably. Although generally I think a piece of land is, you know, if they're developing all like to make a huge single family development, I think they're either all going to annex or all de-annex
Right.
probably. So they probably all pay the fee, percent fee.
Yeah.
So to clarify, what we have here is a mechanism for city council to be able to raise the fee at their choice, right? It's not our
Right.
choice, right? We're just giving them the mechanism to do so.
Correct.
That then allows the city council to allocate funds for large infrastructure projects, roadway improvements, intersection improvements. So really, what we're talking about is just the mechanism to give city council the ability to go raise those funds should they need them for
Exactly.
other major projects in our infrastructure as we go to improve and grow.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. And it's a way of documenting what projects are eligible for that. That's a big part of the study is which of these projects are going to facilitate future capacity for the city. And there's a CIP map we can pull up in the presentation.
And Ben, if you could you
Yep.
also just explain, these fees are used so that growth is paying for itself essentially?
Yes,
Right.
yes. Very,
Yeah,
very, very
no.
good point. Yeah, correct. So, you know, we've taken just the part of the roads that is capacity adding to facilitate new growth. So the existing citizens are not paying for the new roads for, you know, the new large developments that are coming in as well. Growth pays for growth is kind of the tagline of the entire program a little bit.
Yeah, it's just hard for commercial or developers to come in and pay those large fees.
Right.
So you might get less development, which then causes the community to pay for the roadway.
Right. It's certainly the give and take.
Right.
The counter argument, all I have done is put together the max
Oh, yeah,
fees.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But the counter argument to that is, would you rather the current citizens, pay for those new roads to facilitate the future development? And it's a balance, right? I mean, we haven't adopted 100%, so we're saying that part of that is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Ben, do you know the rough proportionality numbers for residential units for Travis County? What they're in Pflugerville? I don't. I'm
Oh,
asking.
yeah, I do know the Travis County rough proportionality number. I think it's something incredibly low. It'd be hard for me to off the top of my head, but I think it's between like $1,000 and $2,000. Their study has kind of never been updated. I think the data that they're using is from 2011 or 2012 in there. I'm talking off the top of my head, but it's something like that.
Yeah.
Their data is incredibly old, over 10 years. So their numbers will be lower than this.
So they haven't updated theirs.
No.
Is that really? It seems low.
Yeah. Yes. I would agree. It's.
I think that's important to know for the council at least. When you're talking about like small tracks that are
Yes.
trying to figure out what they want to do.
Yes.
If their traffic impact fee number or the roadway impact fee or the road proportionality is way different, then
Mm-hmm.
it just becomes a math equation for the developers.
Right.
You want it to be competitive, but you also, obviously, there should be a reason to annex whatever that may be. But
I've done several rough proportionality calculations as well, like for counties and stuff. Actually, I did not do Travis counties, but I did like Guadalupe counties. The calculation to get a max fee is very similar to that of a rough proportionality. So these numbers here is pretty similar to a rough proportionality number. I would take more of like an average than saying each individual one, but it is pretty similar.
I have a question too. On the impact fees currently, can the current impact fees be used to address road development in already established areas, right? Or is this only impact fees for new development, or is it a pool? And so when the city says, hey, this stretch of road needs to be improved, widened, or whatever, do they have the ability to draw from that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it can be used for completely built out areas, but you now need a 6-lane arterial to facilitate, the new development on the terminuses maybe, but yeah.
Okay, so back to the mechanics of this, we're essentially adopting this to give city council the ability to address our roads across the city, but new development pays a premium, obviously, for into that, or they don't pay a premium, they pay a new rate, into that so that we can address our roadways.
And I might show the next slide and kind of explain it because it goes into that a little bit, and we can jump around to whichever slide.
Yeah. Also, feel free to be like, that's going to be answered later.
There's not much presentation left. I have these graphs for you, which everyone likes, and then we're just going to talk about the max fees. So
it's just these. Okay, we got
there's very few slides in this one.
But I thought the roadway impact fee was for those 6 mile.
So the roadway impact fee needs to be spent within the service area it's collected. So if you
Okay.
build something in service area A, you can't take it and go build something way on the east side of town.
Okay, but then you can use that remaining funds to fix something within the city of Pflugerville?
Yes, to construct something new, but yes.
Construct something new.
Like if you have a 4-lane road and it's in really bad shape and you want to reconstruct it as a 4-lane road, that would not be eligible. You have to do something that adds capacity so the future development benefits from it.
Oh yeah, it's not how I read it in here, so I apologize.
No problem. Just to explain this slide a little bit, I think the point of this is saying like roadway impact fees are not going to solve all the transportation problems. It is one tool, one component of how to build roadways. This is just an example, rough numbers of a total transportation budget here. So what we've kind of assumed here is that roadway impact fees are going to pay for 25% of the overall budget. By setting a higher collection rate, it could pay for 50% of the budget, or set a lower one to 5%. But the other pieces of the pie need to make up the rest of that budget. So it's kind of setting the collection rate is kind of playing the dance between roadway impact fees and then taxes and other revenue sources, grants, bonds, things like that.
Are these just can these be just like the water and wastewater impact fees where you take the maximum amount, then you divide by half, and that's the maximum assessable fee?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so same.
I would call that a collection rate just for the nomenclature that is in the presentation. But yeah, that's sort of what is adopted right now for non-residential. They just took 50% of the max. Of the previous study, again, the first 3 rows are all current day, and the last row is the new study.
So you're asking if they took the 4390 divided by half?
No, well, it's all part of the math calculation, but you figure the improvements, you figure what's going to get built in 10 years, what improvements are going to get built to support that.
Exactly.
Dollar amount, divide by half.
You could do
and
that.
And that's this number, or can you go back to do you have the equation? I just want to understand it.
It was like on slide 1 or 2. Right there.
Oh,
Right
that's
there.
it. Oh, there.
Got it, sorry. So this is how you calculate the maximum assessable. So that's how you set that ceiling. For the collection rate, council could say 50% of that, we're good. They could pick any number.
Can they take a phased approach to it? Like say,
Take a phased approach as an option. It does have to be adopted all at one time, and the plan that we set in motion right now has to stay on track for 3 years before they can increase a collection. They can reduce it at any time.
And what's our growth rate we forecasted? or the city forecasted?
We will have land use assumptions in one of these other slides. We can probably pull into the full presentation. Maybe.
I feel like the growth rates got kind of skewed a lot by COVID and stuff like that.
Cannot get them. Oh, it was just off screen.
Is it one slide down?
Yeah, the growth rates are here. This is the amount of the growth occurring in each.
The yearly growth? What about yearly growth?
This is the total amount of growth we expect to see, is the slide I currently have, because this is the number that we use in the report. So, just to read, like surface area A, we think there's going to be 42 new single family homes.
Is that because we have like less to build on or something?
It's like
it's
pre-built
very
out.
small. It's
Yeah.
42 empty lots. And
It's
in
pretty
A.
built out. Is
Okay.
that where the assumption comes from? We used the Campo. Campo did this and projected growth into the 10-year condition.
Yeah, it seems.
Yeah, we generally
It's
think
4.2 houses per year
yeah,
in A. I think
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
I think 200 houses a year in C is possible.
hmm
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with the. I love the idea of the impact to build infrastructure and all those things. It's just the mechanism. How'd you come up with the dollars? That's my only real question. I think you answered that for me.
Yeah, and that's a lot of it comes down to like what's everyone else doing, but
Yeah.
my recommendation, because we're just advisory, is like, hey, you're not competing against Georgetown. You're competing against Hutto and Wilco and Travis County. Like rough proportionality for Travis County and Wilco should be up there. And Wilco has nothing. Wilco requires TIAs now, but so like whoop-de-doo, no offense, what's Georgetown doing? But
right.
it's like a completely different area of town, completely different city, completely
Correct.
different soil structure. Like there's a lot of way different stuff in Georgetown. And I'm not crapping on the slide. I'm just saying like
Yeah, no, that's great context. A lot of times when I'm showing these, I'm thinking about who's done them most recently, because
Yeah.
they get out of date, as the life cycle goes on.
Yeah.
So when we look at this just in compared to the other cities, is the idea of what keeps us most competitive amongst developers that want to come to our city and build, and how these impact fees kind of affect their bottom line?
Well,
Yeah.
I think the challenge that we face, and this is something we deal with in planning and zoning, is that while we talk a lot about being business friendly or being developer friendly, that's back and forth, but really that takes the focus, in my opinion, away from the need of the community, right? So like, there's people moving here because they are priced out of other markets or they're looking for a quality of life, right?
Yeah.
And when they come here, they need roads to drive on and they need infrastructure. And so, when I think about these impact fees, right? They're just the mechanics, the mechanism for getting it done. We're not adopting the $6,000 rate as the set rate. We're giving city council the ability to make that election should they so choose. Really, the thing that we should be thinking about is what impact does it have on our infrastructure, right? And we've got a couple $1 billion of bonds out. A significant portion of that is roadways, and our voters voted for that. Because the residents who live here, we recognize that we have challenges with our roads. Like there's roads that aren't connected. There's 2-lane roads that need to be reconditioned to add shoulders and things like that. And so I really think that if the city puts the mechanics in place to allow there to be good roads, then developers view that and say, oh, okay, great. I don't have to build a brand new neighborhood way out on the east side of town, and the only way to get here for my buyers is a 2-lane farm road that's got ditches on either side, and by the way, the road's so poorly conditioned that you could easily drive off into the ditch, right? So it's the cart or the horse, right? I think the developers are the ones who have to make the choice about whether to come here, but a significant portion of that choice includes what's the infrastructure like. and what's the city doing to make sure that when I go to put my product on the ground and make the investment in the community, that the people that I'm selling that product to are able to capture that and have a good quality of life.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there is some competition on the commercial side, too.
Yeah.
And residential, I suppose, but just,
Yeah, happy to flip to the commercial one as well.
oh, the isn't it?
Shopping center.
Yeah, that's why there's no restaurants.
That's expensive.
I think
And I
we
guess
specifically have
that's what I'm
restaurants.
thinking, like, are we introducing something that's going to deter?
It's potentially cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
I think that's the policy decision the council needs
Yeah.
to make.
Mm-hmm.
I think they need to, I mean, or if they care what I think they need to think about what they want to incentivize and
Yeah.
do what they may with it. But $178,000 or $115,000 per 1,000 feet is a lot of
Absolutely.
money.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the TI package on a restaurant?
Well, it's supposed to be this, used to be. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
so
it
now
used to
you're
be.
adding, you're
Yeah.
doubling it with the impact fees.
Used to be
Right.
the rate of their rent. So if it was like $34, they got 34 in TI. But now it's less than that, sometimes more than that. But either way, to build inside a property right now, it's around $300,000 or $400,000 to build out from a shell, and then that's if the developer got lucky on buying that land cheap and buying and getting the building built, not
Right.
Yeah. So if you have
less expensive. So yeah, you're looking at.
If you have a 3,000 foot restaurant, the minimum is $150,000.
Mhm.
It's just
Yeah.
super expensive.
Yeah, and then
I didn't realize this.
Right.
and so we're cutting down on square footage to under $1,500 square feet for retail period. So like if you have a 10,000 square foot building, it's like 1,000, 1,500 is the max because people can't afford past that number. So yeah, I don't know the cart before the horse kind of thing either. So it's obviously up to the city
Yeah.
council, but
I think they need to.
I think they need to.
If they want restaurants, this is one of the problems.
Yeah.
You certainly see a trend with this one. We were looking at the residential single families what we have here, but a lot of them charge you higher percent of the max. Then you switch over to looking at retail, and they're all going to be calculated the same. We can look at restaurant
Yeah,
or shopping
and
center, but like they're all charging less compared to the max. Sort of a
Yeah, the
trend.
actual fees are pretty low. 96 grand's low. Okay,
Yeah.
the max is up there.
Yeah. I mean, I'm assuming the city council won't go that high, but
Yeah. So,
Well, but on the restaurant thing, too, I'm just jumping on that too. So I think one of the challenges we face in this community also is that we're still a bedroom community. I mean, like,
yeah.
I work 30 minutes away from here. So when I go have lunch, it's somewhere else, come back and have dinner.
I totally want commercial here.
Right. But I think the issue we run into is how do you take a historically bedroom community and turn it into a business hub where people live and work here.
No, I
and
totally
stay
get
here.
it.
And I just looked this up, but like I think somebody told me this at a meeting one time that Walmart was our biggest employer up until like 2009 or 10.
I heard that last year, this time last year.
And now Amazon is in here in Costco, but we don't really have any major business headquarters here.
Yeah.
And I know that the state's building the law library. Is that right? In the next couple of years. And so that anchors like that have the ability to change the economics when it comes to whether or not a restaurant is profitable from 10:30 in the morning until 9 p.m. Right. And that's the real economics of it is that breakfast people are leaving and they're not coming back until dinner time, and even then it's activities or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I think I've lived here 9 years, longer than that, 12 years. And that's just been the challenge.
Yeah.
Is that
No, I get it.
everybody commutes somewhere else to go do those things, and the restaurants and the entertainment are the thing that people want, but the
We don't have them.
economics to make the restaurant and the entertainment work don't exist because we still send significant majority of our residents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
to other
Yeah, I'm not
places
against
to go
what you're
work.
saying because I'm totally pro commercial,
Yeah.
but there has to be some kind of balance, and I don't know what it is.
Yeah, some places, obviously on 130, it's 54th Street Brew House or whatever, does pretty
One
well.
place.
Stone Hill, there's a lot of lunch traffic there, so.
Yeah, but
Jack Allen's in Hutto is pretty good.
Yeah.
They're pretty busy, so.
yeah. Have to leave again. Have to go
Turn
away.
it back up, please. Thank you. So we just, I have a question, but before I jump into that, today are we just looking to, or making a motion to recommend to
The
the city
maximum.
council the maximum?
The study, that's correct, which
Okay.
contains the maximum.
Okay. Well, there's no.
And the study also contains the land use assumptions and the CIP, which we discussed previously, but happy to revisit any of those as well.
But it's a
Okay.
recommendation not on an amount, it's a recommendation for the study.
For the overall study, that's correct.
Oh, not to go to the.
But you can add comments in. That we
Okay.
can-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely want to comment. Not max.
Yeah. So
I think written
I just-
comment.
there's no other place on the agenda, so I'm going to ask my question. We talked about it last time
Yeah.
a little bit, and this is more of a policy comment type thing. So, and maybe staff can help me out. Is it TIA and roadway impact fee? I didn't feel
They're
like
separate, I thought.
it was clear. Are they doing TIAs and paying roadway impact fees?
Yes.
Yes, at this point, staff is doing, still, the roadway impact fees are charged, and then there are TIAs. That's something that we're going to be looking at, if it's going to be one or the other. I know that there's a lot of
Yeah.
conversation
That'd
that
be nice.
usually if you have roadway impact, you're not doing a TIA. And then keep in mind as well, the UDC, or Unified Development Code, as well as the engineering manual, are both under review and being looked at right now. So those are larger conversations that will happen around this as well.
Y'all are in the industry, y'all
Yeah.
know as well. I think most cities still do both TIA and they just change what the TIA is a little bit, like look closer at your driveways and things like
Yeah.
that. But Round Rock only does impact fees effectively. They still have it in their code where they could require TIA if they want, but most people are still doing
Yeah, I think you can make the argument for like a traffic. I call it a traffic memo. I don't
Yeah.
It's like looking at your turn lanes directly adjacent to your
Right.
tract. Here was my concern with that. Is like if you are assessing a road impact fee. So just for if y'all are in development or not in development, but all this comes from the Flower Mountain case for proportionality. You can't overcharge a developer for a road, and they had a Supreme Court case, I think it was, and the determination was you can't charge them more than they would owe. So they came up with TIAs, and then road impact fees became a thing. So what I would worry is if you do both, then you are creating like two boundaries. Like we've got service area C, and then you go, oh, developer, you got to do TIA too, and then I go back and I find that, well, I'm not service area C, I'm part B, part C, and oh, by the way, I don't owe whatever you decided is in C. So I think the city opens himself up a little bit by requiring mitigation via TIA and road impact fee. I think it has to be one or the other, just because of the way the study is and the way TIA is done. So if I go study a bunch of intersections with my TIA, well, and they're not in C, well, now I have an argument not to pay the roadway impact fee and just do the TIA. So I think it has to be one or the other if you're going to be requiring monetary mitigation. But
Yeah.
yeah, feel free to be like, that's a dumb thought, but
No. It's a completely valid thought. For the record, I'm Matt Rector. I'm your utilities director and director of development engineering. And so typically what you see in a city that has both TIA and impact fee is when a developer comes in and they do their plating, they're assessed their impact fees. And then they're working through their TIA process, and then we say, oh, well, you have to do improvements A, B, and C, whatever they are. And so the reason why we, as development engineers, why we like the overlap is because you guys have seen the presentations where the impact fee analysis, these guys look at really big, high-level picture based on future land use, growth assumptions, all that stuff, which is them looking into a crystal ball, making their best projections that they possibly can. When an actual development comes in, it's more on the ground. We know exactly what you're planning to do. We know all the impacts that are going to happen to the road work all the way around you. And so that's where we look at turn lanes, median cuts, traffic signal impacts, which these guys don't necessarily look at during the CIP stuff. I mean, some of it they do, but most of it is just high level. And so where we do make sure that we don't do the double dipping is, for example, if we had, let's say we were improving a signal out here at Finnig Lane and 685. And then a developer comes in and we say, oh, you've got to improve that signal. Well, because it's on the CIP and it's in the impact fee, that developer is now eligible for a credit towards that impact fee because we're asking them to pay for that improvement. so they can build the improvement instead of pay that portion of their impact fee. And if it's a complete wipeout, then it's a complete wipeout. And I've even seen some developers go as far as to say, well, based on our numbers, our improvement is going to cost more than the impact fees, so we want to enter into some sort of cost participation with the city where the city pays for their share. And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. So that's kind of, I don't know if that completely answers your question, but there are mechanisms in place to try to prevent the city from double dipping.
Right. Yeah. My point was like, don't double dip on the service area. So if you ask someone to do TIA and they study the intersections that you decide to define this area that you're impacting, well, then you're saying, well, and you got to pay for C down here. This portion of C that's way far away, that's not in this area that we decided for you to study.
Yeah.
Well,
So you're saying
that's
like,
where that's
if
like
you were straddling, say, B and C,
yeah.
and we say, oh, you need to make this improvement over here in this intersection, but it's in B, but we're going to make you pay the impact fees in C. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, like the old TIAs, or at least a couple TIAs that we've done, we will study intersections, and then we get comments on, hey, study all these intersections. These are the intersections that you're going to impact. Study them. Okay, so now you've defined the area. I guess you could draw a circle around it of what the development's impacting. Well, now you've created this defined area that you're proportionally affecting. Well, now if you say you have to pay road impact fees and you got to do this other stuff, now we're double dipping proportionality a little bit. Not necessarily money, but proportionality. That would be my concern.
Okay.
You know, maybe they're you know, it's like a curb cut or something. It's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
It's just a theory thing. It's, you know.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something for us to look at when we're asking for people to do TIAs, to figure out where those service area boundaries are to make sure we're not crossing them.
Yeah, in general, I think as long as you stick to the maximum amount assessed as whatever their road impact fee would be, whatever their mitigation is, I think you're fine. So you want to mix and match, I think that's okay. But if you charge people plus impact fee plus, I think that's when you might get into an issue.
Yeah, that's fair.
Did you read the study? Did you read through the study?
I have read the report. Yes, in fact, I made multiple. I've only been here for a month, and I've made multiple comments and asked him to tweak things.
I get comments from Robin, then turn around, get comments from Matt. So we
What do you think of the maximum? What do you think of the number?
Honestly, I've never seen a city actually go to the maximum, so I'm like, it is what it is. It's based on straight math. I have almost zero confidence that
you agree with the math and how it's done, though,
Yes,
right? Okay.
yes. I have almost zero confidence that the city council will even consider going that high up.
Yeah, I'm sure they won't. I just want to know if the mechanism for like how do we come up with the numbers is always for me.
Yeah. No, I'm good with the way they did it in the math. I mean, it's pretty much state mandated anyway, so.
Are we legally covered if they do go to the max? Is there?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, fine. Cool, thank you, Matt. I've got no other questions. That was just my
Yeah, I mean, I'm
honestly question. Does anyone else have any other questions?
saying.
Okay.
Let's give a state.
And then what's the motion again? We're approving the road impact fee study, the update?
The study, right?
It
Or
would
not-
be approving, it would be recommending approval.
Recommending approval.
approval of the study,
Okay.
just of the study.
Does anyone have a motion to that effect?
I move that we recommend the approval of the study for City Council's review.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And then we'll adjourn the meeting at 5:42. Thank you, Ben.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.